smooth yet sinister, coming through to diminish you. And this here's the finisher. Check it out.
What is going on, guys? Trey coming back at your screen by means of the World Wide Web. And today I got a subscriber request video, guys. So the subs are asking here, well, what sphere do I use? What sphere should I use for which occasion? Well, I'm basically going to give you a quick breakdown of some of the things I try to keep in mind when I'm selecting what spheres I need to use. Now, we're going to just go down the list here, and I'll basically explain it as it goes. So first of all, let me start out right here. You see all this Dragon Blade, Chosen Blade, Star Shield, all this nonsense? Yeah, don't use that junk. Don't use any of these spheres, guys, that only boost one stat unless you just really have it. Basically, only if that's all you have. If that's all you have, my guess is you haven't been playing the game for very long. So of course, just use what you got until you get better spheres. But if you've been playing the game for a while and you built up a nice stock of spheres, don't even bother with these guys. Don't even bother. I probably need to freaking just get rid of them, honestly, but I don't know. Maybe there's some sphere down the line where you're going to need this sphere to make a better sphere. So, it's probably the only reason I've been holding on to them. But don't even bother with this type of stuff, guys. If it only increases one stat and that's all it does, forget it. Just don't even equip them to a unit. So, moving along here, we got a sphere, the Muramasa. So, spheres like this that boost the a stat for the first couple of turns, like the Muramasa, the Angelic Foil, the Amano Habaken. Spheres like that you want to use basically on one or two occasions. Either you're going to want to put these spheres on a squad that you're using to OTK something, like you just want to go in, you want to just wipe everything out. Definitely equip the Amano Habakens and Angelic Foils and such. The only other reason I would use these spheres is for arena, guys. Usually arena doesn't last more than 2 turns per squad. So you get 2 turns, the other squad may get 2 turns. That's pretty much the average amount of time that an arena battle lasts. So these spheres would be good for that as well. As you can see, I got it on my Hogar here. I got it on Amano Habaken. And Hogar is one of the units that I use on my arena squad. So that's pretty much, my opinion, the only reason you want to use these spheres, that only give you a certain stat boost for just the first 2 or 3 turns or something along those lines. So that's what we use those for. Same with the Royal Shield here, first 3 turns, things like that. The Death Scythe, not really a widely used sphere, because of the HP below half business. You don't really want to use any spheres like that at all, guys. Main reason being, you don't want your HP below half. I mean, you just don't. And since that's the only time the sphere is gonna work, it's almost fruitless. It's almost useless. Now, spheres that work when your HP is full is a different story, such as the Death Axe here. Also got spheres such as the Wicked Blade that works like that. Those type of spheres, they're pretty good also for OTK squads, guys, because if you're OTKing everything, you're always going to have full HP. So using a sphere like the Death Axe here, boost that critical hit rate with full HP, that'll work perfect for an OTK squad, guys. Just equip that on them and just obliterate everything, just smash everything out. So that's pretty good stuff there. Now, spheres like the Prized Cloth here, those spheres that have a chance to decrease the amount of damage you take, those are useful against like tough bosses. You usually want to equip a sphere like that on a squishy unit. Most people don't use the Prized Cloth, but they use the Blessed Robe, which the Prized Cloth there has a 25% chance to decrease damage. The Blessed Robe has a 30%, not a 30% chance. It has a chance to decrease the damage by 25%, and the Blessed Robe is 30%. So you usually use that on a squishy unit. Many use it on a 6-star Gra, because not 6-star, 5-star Gra, because Gra's squishy. He's a very powerful and good unit, but he's squishy. He can't take much of a beating. So if you can get that sphere to activate, it really helps keep him alive, guys. So I seen quite a few people using that sphere. They would dual sphere their Gra, and then they'd equip the blessed robe on them when going up against units like Maxwell back in the day. And yeah, it works wonders if it activates, guys. So that's basically the main reason you want to use a sphere like that. A sphere like Starblade I wouldn't even use. Boost BB gauge when the enemy is defeated, not good enough. Same with Demon Robe, not really that great. Now these HP absorbing spheres like this, the Soul Sphere, I actually think they're pretty good. I actually think they make a really good second sphere, honestly. So back in the day, this was actually one of my most used spheres, but nowadays not so much. But that does not mean it's a bad sphere. This and my boy Magers, his sphere, the Leo Merg, they got the HP absorption, and it helps, guys. Like pretty much every time you attack, if it activates, like the Soul Sphere the Soul Spear, it has a chance of absorbing HP. The Leo Merg, I can't think off the top of my head whether it has a chance or whether it's guaranteed. We'll get to it later in the video. But you usually absorb a ton of HP, guys, when the sphere activates. So I definitely like these spheres. Use it on units that either you know are going to be taking the beat down the majority of the time, or they have a really high HP amount, so that you know they always have a lot of healing to do, so to speak. But they come in handy with keeping your units up to full HP, guys. Cure Bracer is a really old sphere. Not many people use it. There's also another sphere out there known as the Luna Creator, that boosts the drop rate of HCs as well. Not many people use those. They're not widely used spheres, mainly because no one too much really cares about HCs. Usually if you want an HC rate increase, you use a unit to do it, like Zell Knight or Lully or Ferris. You know, you wouldn't equip a sphere in order to do that. So those spheres aren't widely used, guys. I personally wouldn't recommend them. Thief Bracer, only use it when you're trying to farm, and if you're farming, you better have a Zell Knight with you. I mean, that's just bottom line. If you don't have a Zell Knight, you can use Nick. That's pretty much it, guys. That's the only reason you really care to have a Thief Bracer. Star Helm, don't use those type of spheres at all. Chance of recovering, 20% chance of damage taken being recovered, no. Just don't use those kind of spheres. They're terrible. Stealth Robe, don't use. Holy Crown, you don't want to use that one because it's old school. There's a better sphere known as the King's Crown, which isn't widely used, but it does help with a BB gauge building, but I wouldn't use it. Unless that's all you have. There's way too many spheres out here that are better, guys. Glass Crown, don't use. Royal Bud, not a bad sphere. It's just kind of outdated at this point, because we got what's known as the Steeple Rose and even the Heavenly Bud, if you have that one, which increases damage dealt during spark by 50% and 100% respectively. So Royal Bud, not a bad sphere in itself. There's just better ones out there. Definitely use those types of spheres on units with high hit counts. If it was me, I'd say no lower than like 25 hits. Any unit that can hit roughly 25 hits or more, you can equip one of these types of spheres to them in order to increase the damage output you get, because they're more likely to spark because they have more hits. You also want to use units that have a consistent hit rate as well. You know, nothing. What I mean by that is their hits are back to back. They're not like 10 hits here, then 8 hits a second later, and then 2 hits a second. Nothing flimsy. Somebody like Luther, where you swipe that thing and he goes and it's 28 just quick hits, quick hits. them the type of units you want to put it on, guys. Dragon Ring, don't really use that. It's old school. Now these spheres here, Demon Lance. You also got the Divine Spear, I think it's called. These ones that give you a chance to ignore enemy defense. The only reason I use these guys is against metal units. So mainly I use these spheres in Metal Parade because defense ignore is imperative. It helps with getting the efficiency you want out of using your keys, guys. So if you always have a way to ignore defense, you can get through each Metal Parade that much quicker. And the more runs you get out of a key, the better use you get out of that key, guys. So only use these type of spheres against metal units, the Demon Lance and defense ignore spheres and things like that. The Phoenix Eye sphere, it sounds like a good sphere, guys, but honestly not that great in my opinion. Main reason being is if you're even using this sphere, it's going to be a second sphere. I highly doubt it's going to be like your primary sphere that you're going to use on the unit. And there's too many other spheres out there that are better at recovering HP than the Phoenix Eye, so you're not going to be using that one too much. Our stat increase spheres, you can use those for pretty much anything, guys. You got the Limbo Stone, you got Medulla Gems, Leg 1 Gems, Malice Jewels, all that type of stuff. You can use that for pretty much anything, guys. Any unit at any time against any situation could use a stat boost. It helps for anything. So you can put those on pretty much any unit, guys, and it'll be very helpful. So another defense ignore sphere. Now we got the Hero Stones here, and we also got the Giant Stones, which is the Giant Stone. And definitely don't use that one. Hero Stone is an outdated sphere, so we're not going to use that one too much. What most are using today is known as Divine Stones, guys. These are pretty much what you want to use nowadays. And the units that many are using this sphere on are the units that have unlimited BB gauge. You see here I have mine equipped to Lilith, Rogan, Eris. Pretty much all units that when you use the SBB, part of their SBB description is that it fills the gauge right back up to the top. So that's what you want to use these kinds of spheres on. Are there better spheres than this? Of course, yes. But units like these get the best use out of them because once you build the SBB gauge for the first time, they're good for pretty much the rest of the dungeon or the battle or whatever you're doing. They're pretty much good. Unless, of course, you're fighting against someone that sucks down your BB gauge, which kind of stinks. But besides that, these are the type of units you want to use this type of sphere on, guys. It helps tremendously with their damage output and things like that. Alright, so Refined Gem, while this is a good sphere, it definitely has its uses. It just depends on your sphere collection. As you can see, I don't really have any of them equipped. The main reason being is because I have better spheres that can prevent status ailments. Now if this is all you have, then by all means use them because they're very useful in the beginning. It's just once you become better at the game, you're going to get better spheres. But you can definitely use this on units that are going to be negating the status ailments. Now when you're doing a tough battle, you're always going to want to bring a unit that can nullify status ailments. Those are the type of units you want this sphere on because you don't want that unit to get paralyzed or cursed, because without that unit, how is the rest of your squad going to be protected from status ailments? So that is the main reason why you want to have a sphere like this on a unit that's going to be protecting the rest of the squad from status ailments. Now I have better spheres such as the Drelvish and the Cosmic Dust, so I don't really use the Refined Gem too much. But early on, very good sphere, guys. Very good sphere. Alright, more stat increase spheres here. Stat increase. Stat increase. Thief Gloves, once again, for farming. Put it on Zell Knight. If you don't got a Zell Knight, put it on Nick. Omni Gizmo is a good sphere in itself. It's just pretty much outdated now because it increases the drop rate of HCs and BCs while attacking. It's just outdated. In the beginning, pretty good sphere. Once you get better, not so much. Blessed Robe I told you about earlier with Gra. Wicked Blade, we discussed that. Evil Shards. Evil Shards are pretty decent for units that it's pretty much imperative for them to always have full BB gauges. As you can see, I got one equipped in my tree because I want him to be ready to heal at the drop of a dime, guys. You don't know what could happen on that next turn. You may get badly hurt. And guess what? If you don't have any BB gauge, you can't use them. So Evil Shards give you a little bit of BB gauge every turn. There's a better sphere out there known as the Magic Ore that gives you even more BB gauge every turn. So put this on imperative units where you want their BB gauge to pretty much be ready to go at any time, guys. Like Tree here, as you can see, I have one on my Darwin shell as well because I want that mitigation to be there and ready at any point, guys. So good stuff there. We talked about the Steeple Rose already and the Heavenly Bud. We talked about the King's Crown, the Phoenix Eye, Dragon Stud. These type of spheres are not widely used. They're a good sphere. They're mainly going to be a secondary sphere though, and they're a good sphere in itself, but it's the chance thing that kind of makes it to where it's not really widely used. Because when you attack, you get a chance of getting a good amount of BB gauge. You get quite a bit. I must say, you get a nice amount, but it's still just it's not widely used because of that chance. If it was guaranteed to work, I can pretty much assure you that it'd be more widely used. But other than that, just don't use that. Don't use them. Alzion Pearl here. You see I got it on my Trident. The main type of units you want to equip that sphere to are units with a very high BC count. Trident is coming in at a grand total of 69 BCs in order to fill up his BB and SBB gauges. So that's why I put the Alzion Pearl on him. It really comes in handy when filling up his BB gauges. So I don't actually have to get 69 BCs to fill it. It doesn't take that much in order to fill them up. So use that sphere as well as the Miroku Pearl, which is a little bit worse than the Alzion Pearl here. You use those spheres on units that have a high BC cost, guys. It'll definitely help them get their BB gauges filled up much quicker. Gale Knight Axe, pretty much the king sphere for OTK, guys. Massively boosts critical hit rate and doubles critical hit damage. If you want to OTK a fool, put this sphere on one of your strongest units, guys, and you will just see the damage output is just astronomical. So that is for OTK squads. Masamune, just like the angelic foils and what's not. Cosmic Dust here, status element protection. Magic Ore we talked about. Leg 1 gem, stat boost. Ragnar Blade, stat boost and defense ignore. So here are all the Grand Gaia Chronicle spheres. They each do their own little thing in addition to boosting stats. So BB gauge every turn for the Dandelga, like the Evil Shard. The Drelvish is just like a refined gem with a stat boost. The Batuta is a steeper rose with a stat boost, and so on and so forth, guys. So these type of spheres, just make sure when you put them on a unit, make sure what you're trying to do caters to that unit. For example, as you can see, I got the Drelvish equipped on my X-Veil. Why? Well, in addition to a stat boost, the Drelvish negates status ailments. And if you remember what I was talking about with the refined gem, you always want to put this type of sphere on a unit that is going to help keep status ailments off of the rest of your squad. So my X-Veil, he will never get cursed, he will never get paralyzed. That way I won't have to worry about him not being able to protect the rest of my squad from status ailments. So like the Batuta here, Luther has a 28 hit SBB that increases spark damage. Well, the Batuta here increases damage dealt during spark by 50%. So you kind of see the synergy here, guys. You want to make sure you equip these type of spheres to units that they're going to benefit from the added effect besides just a stat boost. Alright. So Evil Halberd here is actually a pretty good sphere. It has a slight chance of inflicting a random status ailment when attacking. There are better spheres than this one that do that. But you mainly want to use this on units that can help deal more status ailments. For example, I have it equipped to my now Mika. If I'm not using her leader skill, then this is actually a really good sphere for her, because as you know, her BB and SBB have a chance of dealing a random status ailment, but her attack won't if I don't have her set as leader. So while she's doing regular attacks, building up BB gauge, she'll be able to have a chance of dealing a random status ailment as well. So she can just really just mess the enemy team up, guys. Pretty good stuff there. And actually, even though it says when attacking, I think it helps with BB and SBB too. I'm not confirmed on that, but I think it does. So Miroku Pearl, just like Alzion Pearl we discussed earlier. Soul Creator, you mainly want to use these on units with a high hit count. You see I got it equipped to Lario, who's the king, 40 hits, Cardes, 33 hits, Luca, 27 hits. All high hit count unit, guys, in order to help build the BCs while you're attacking. So that's the point of those. So you put it on units with a high hit count. Stat boost. The Hollow Skull and the Sinister Orb. They're not really great spheres, honestly. They increase the amount of normal attacks you do, but it halves the damage. So that's the main reason many people are not using those two spheres. But the first thing that it does kind of helpful. The Hollow Skull increases the drop rate of BC, so that helps a little bit. And then the Sinister Orb boosts BB gauge when attacking, so that helps a little bit. But they're not widely used because they double the amount of hits, but they halve the damage. So you're not really doing more hits per se. And I don't even think it increases your drop check either for BCs. Not confirmed on that, so don't take my word for it, but I don't think it does. Stat boost, and I think the rest of these are pretty much stat boost. This fire and tidal shield spheres, honestly the only time you want to use them, if you even use them, is for the elemental arenas like the Earth Vortex dungeon we had a while back or something like that. Other than that, don't even use the junk. They're just there. And the rest of it just all stat boost. Alright guys, so subscribers were requesting this one, so I figured I'd make a video to try to help them out with it. Alright, so that's my explanation of what spheres to use on what units, guys. I know I did a lot of yapping here, I'm sorry. There's really no other way I could think of going about it than just going down the list and explaining it. So I hope it helped. If you need more help, feel more than welcome to leave a question down in the comments, and I'll do my best to come back and answer it, guys. Alright, so that's gonna wrap this video up. Don't forget upper right to subscribe, lower right to check out the previous video, and if you wish to join the Facebook group, the link is in the description. So thank you for watching. Please continue to like, subscribe, favorite, share, comment, and everything else, and I'll be back at your screen with more Brave Frontier Global soon. Later, guys.